So when it comes to FNAF tier lists, majority of the ones I see nowadays are all pretty much the exact same thing. Or rather, I should say, they all kind of boil down to being within a fixed variety of categories. You got people ranking the games based on how good they were, some people rank the characters for how scary they are, others rank them based on how, visually appealing they are, and some just rank them based on how much they like the character as a whole. But today, I'm going to be doing something completely different. Something that I've never seen anyone do before. Not on YouTube, not anywhere else. This may be, in fact, the very first time this has been done. Whether or not that statement is true, we're going to do it anyway. I'm going to be power scaling the FNAF World characters with a tier list. I'm only going to be ranking the 40 base game characters. I'm not going to be ranking enemies or bosses, since that's way too many characters to go through, and I'm not going to be ranking, considering, or even acknowledging the existence of the Update 2 characters, since it's way too obvious where they'd end up, considering they were literally created to be overpowered, which really pisses me off, and we want this list to be surprising and unpredictable. Before I start, I do want to take a moment to let you guys know that I need y'all's questions for the Fun Times and Nightmares audio podcast. If you haven't seen the premiere episode, I'll leave a link to it in the description below so that you can go and listen. I also made a community post about it just the other day. If you want a chance to be featured in a video where Nightmare Bonnie and Funtime Foxy answer your questions, leave your question in the comments section of either the premiere episode or the post. The questions can be literally anything, as long as they're not related to anything controversial. That being said, let's get into the rankings. Call me spiteful, but I saved the bottom tier for one specific character. Whenever I play through this game, Phantom Freddy is the only character that makes me physically groan whenever I find them as a new challenger. All of his attacks do nothing but apply status ailments to enemies, which is completely useless since chips exist, and status ailments don't really matter that much in the grand scheme of things. Easily the worst character in the game. Runner-up to the worst of the worst is none other than the first jump scare most Let's Players experienced in FNAF 3, Phantom BB. The only reason he ranks just above Phantom Freddy is because his toxic balloon deals damage, but that's not nearly enough to save him from being this low. For a character as awesome as him, Shadow Freddy couldn't have been more disappointing. He has no damage dealing abilities, 2 of his attacks only have a chance to insta-kill enemies, and his third move requires the enemy to be at a certain health threshold. Also, when dealing with bosses, Shadow Freddy might as well be as useless as a piano without keys. Of the 8 starter characters, Toy Freddy is no doubt in my mind the weakest. He's got Mic Toss, which does mediocre damage, Party Favors, which is so pathetic that it shouldn't even be a move in the game, and Speed Song, which isn't completely useless, but that's not much of a redeeming quality. A slight upgrade from his counterpart in FNAF 2, Withered Freddy is going to be kicking off the last of our lower half tiers. Mic Toss, not bad. Gloom Song, useless. Escape Key, okay. The first character on our list which I wouldn't consider completely and utterly useless, but there are so many other options which are far better to have in your party than this guy. Similar to Shadow Freddy, we were left pretty disappointed with what Golden Freddy has to offer. He doesn't suck nearly as bad as Shadow Freddy, but like all the others in his league, there are a ton of far more viable options. Reigning supreme at the top of D tier is a fairly strong character, which is held down by one massive drawback. Phantom Chica would actually be a decent pick for the party, but she only has 2 attacks which are useful at all. Sludge is so useless that she might as well have an entire move slot missing. Being one of the most vital members of your team early game, Chica has quite a bit to offer in terms of healing and support. Her lack of damage dealing is the only thing keeping her at the bottom of this tier. Ah, the OG, Mr. Fazbear, the team leader himself. Freddy is a very inoffensive character to have as a member of your party. He's not good, he's not bad, he's just the baseline. His damage and support are evenly balanced, and out of all the starter characters, he's the most basic. The second strongest of the core four is Foxy. Jump Scare is an extremely handy ability early game, and it can save your ass in even some of the most clutch moments. Hot Cheese is a nice attack to accompany any gradual damage being done by your bites, and Hook is just mid. Out with the old and in with the older, Withered Foxy is next. It's basically just Foxy, except he has a better Hot Cheese attack, and Jump Scare is replaced by Rainy Day. Sure, he may suffer from Phantom Chica syndrome in that one of his move slots might as well be missing, but Hot Cheese 2 is still a major upgrade to consider. Also, I admit that I'm a little biased, since Withered Foxy is the FNAF character who I want the most to rail me from behind. Despite being one of the rarest characters in the game, Fredbear does not at all live up to what we expected him to be. He's still strong enough in his own right, but I wouldn't say he quite cuts it for a spot in my party. The very first character among the batch which I'd consider actually relatively useful is Phantom Foxy. His Toxic Bite is a solid damage dealer early to mid-game, his Jump Scare can keep enemies at bay in a clutch, and when times get desperate, he has Unscrew at the ready. Also, might I just mention, Phantom Foxy is probably one of the toughest characters to beat early game. If you're unlucky enough to run into him as one of your first new challengers, all I have to say is good luck. Following up the one-armed fiend is the little lady whose voice we all immediately hated the first time we heard it, Toy Chica. Another crucial member of your starting party, except Toy Chica has a bit more versatility than regular Chica. Early to mid-game, her water hose attack is one of the most useful abilities in your entire party. And of course, her cupcake move is extremely important for keeping you alive when you're lacking on chips and bites. Of the 8 starting characters, receiving the bronze medal is Bonnie. If you want some solid damage, which is effective early to mid-game, Bonnie's got you covered with that Bash Jam. What's that? He's got healing too? Wow! For a starter character, he's a surprisingly heavy hitter and a great healing backup for if one or both your Chicas die. The absolutely adorable character that no one asked for but everyone loves is up next. Endo Plush is arguably one of the cutest characters in the game, but don't let his looks fool you. If you're an enemy that's below half health, this little guy can wipe you out in seconds with that water hose too. His Neon Wall ability may be nullified by the existence of chips, and his I-Beam is a pretty mid attack, but he's a great character to have on your team for when you're trying to grind Faz coins or looking for new characters. Receiving the silver medal among the starting characters is the bronze medalist's plastic counterpart, Toy Bonnie. Though not by much, this guy is undoubtedly a straight upgrade from Bonnie. He's got the powerful Bash Jam, he's got Munchies, which basically do what the Bite does, except multiple times, and Prize Ball allows for quite a bit of versatility. During early to mid-game, make it a point to keep this guy around for quite a while. I feel like people don't give Balloon Boy nearly enough credit. Had anyone else been making this list, they probably would have just slapped Balloon Boy in mid-tier and called it a day. It's shocking to me how underrated this character is, and just how overlooked he is as a damage dealer. In reality, Balloon Boy is no pushover of a party member, and he can sometimes straight up carry the damage output from your party early game. The second best of the Phantom animatronics is Phantom Marionette. Essentially, she's a combination of Foxy and Withered Foxy with her attacks. Both Jump Scare and Hot Cheese 2 are a part of her arsenal. The kicker is that Hook is replaced by Mystery Box 2. I'm not quite sure what the difference is between Mystery Box and Mystery Box 2, because as far as I'm aware, they both do the same thing. Overall, a solid character that can hold her own. Next, we're taking a look at one of the only characters which manages to rival Endo Plush in cuteness, Plush Trap. This is yet another character experiencing the devastating flaw of having only 2 useful attacks. However, the 2 attacks Plushtrap has are more than strong enough to get him this high. As mentioned earlier, Toxic Bite is a very useful attack which offers effective utility damage. And holy cow, Bad Pizza just hits like a frickin' truck, dude. Hey, what do you know? Another character with Phantom Chica disease. The only difference is that instead of 2 useful moves accompanied by a useless one, the Paper Pals have 2 useless moves accompanied by a useful one. So then why are they ranked this high? Well, because Prize Ball 2 offers a ton of versatility, which blows almost any character I've talked about so far out of the water. It's one of the most practical and efficient abilities in the entire game, and that alone is enough to skyrocket these guys into the top 5 in B tier. What happened to Chica? The gatekeeper for top 3 in B tier is Withered Chica. I'll just say that of all 4 Withered animatronics, Withered Chica is the only one whose 3 attacks are useful 100% of the time. Also, she has Prize Ball 2, so that should say enough about her strength. I had to think pretty hard about where to put this one, but I think it's only fitting that the strongest Phantom character gets some form of recognition. The bronze medal of B tier goes to Phantom Mangle, and it's not that hard to see why. Toxic Bite is more than a little useful, and Pizza Wheel 2 will mow down enemies mid-game no problem. This next one may or may not surprise you, but the runner-up to B tier's gold medal is Nightmare Bonnie. Similar to Withered Chica, all 3 of Nightmare Bonnie's attacks are ones which always do what they're supposed to do no matter what type of enemy you're facing. And wouldn't you know it, Rainy Day 2! At last, we found a status ailment ability which isn't completely useless. Oh, and Pizza Wheel 2? Hell yeah! The high and mostly mighty ruler of the B tier is the final boss of FNAF 4 himself, Nightmare. There's not much to say about this guy other than that I think he embodies the very definition of the B tier's label, fairly strong. While he's not crazy powerful, he's still an effective character which can pull their weight on your team without much issue. This guy has no direct flaws, and the only thing holding him back is that the other characters above him are just better. Looks like we're going to be handing out 2 gold medals in a row. To start off in A tier, we've got the last and strongest of all the 8 starting characters, Mangle. I'll just say, this game had absolutely no right whatsoever to make a starter character this powerful. Seriously, you're telling me this bitch has poppers and prize ball? Like, what? Mangle not only offers versatility, but poppers are the strongest, most potent attack out of all the attacks wielded by the 8 starter characters, period. Whenever I play through this game, Mangle usually stays in my party from the beginning all the way past Pinwheel Circus. It's absolutely crazy how effective she is, even late game. The mysterious purple-pink doppelganger of Balloon Boy is here to reel us in closer to the top 10. JJ is ranking this high for the exact same reason as Mangle, poppers. If you have the 2 of them in your party and just start whipping out poppers going back and forth, the result is ridiculous for a couple of early game characters. Standing tall, proud, and faceless as the most powerful of the Withered animatronics is Withered Bonnie. Unscrew 2 is one of the most insane abilities in the game, right up there with Prize Ball 2, Freddles, and Cosmic Song. The only reason I don't rank him any higher is because Withered Bonnie isn't very helpful against bosses. He'll do lackluster damage, and that's about it. But that's really the only thing taking away from my ranking. The attacks which did Plushtrap and Toy Chica justice are returning, and have combined with Bite 2 to form Nightmare Chica's set of abilities. When you have her in your party, you won't find it difficult at all to mow down enemies. Just whack them with a few bad pizzas and then water hose them. Yeah, we've gotten into the territory where defeating foes in this game really is that easy. Since Nightmare Chica is essentially serving as the baseline for that level, it's only right that she's a medalist to the A tier. Landing just outside the top 10 is the silver medalist of A tier. Of the 3 characters in the game which wield Prize Ball 2, Marionette is a shoo-in for the best. She also happens to be one of 3 characters with Escape Key, but unlike the other 2, Marionette is on the complete opposite end of the pool when it comes to how useful she is. When she's on your team, simply whipping out Prize Ball after Prize Ball can do loads for your party. Marionette's raw versatility is so helpful that I can't rank her any lower than this. Serving as the ignition for our rocket into the top 10 is our A-tier gold medalist, Nightmare Freddy. I probably don't need to explain much as to why he's ranked so high. One word: Freddles. Well, this is it. We've reached the heavenly gates, that is the S tier. We're among the best of the best here, and the first one to greet us is the closet dweller, Nightmare Foxy. Let me ask you something. Do you need a character to help you grind? Are you looking for a character that will end fights quickly and easily so that you can find those characters you're missing? Well, look no further, because Nightmare Foxy will make your life 1,000 times easier. The best part is that he's got Bite 2 and Hot Cheese 2, so unlike Withered Bonnie, Nightmare Foxy can actually do shit against bosses. Seems like a win to me! When it comes to must-have characters in your party, one of the very first that likely comes to mind is Endo01. This guy is all about utility. Endo Army will dish out damage like nobody's business, and Power Song will be pretty useful when dealing with some of the tougher late-game bosses, such as Chipper or Animadude. I just decided to rank both Endos right next to each other for the sake of convenience. Endo02 is above Endo01. A very exciting character to find late game is RXQ. He's extremely useful and important to the team, being a gift boxer and all. I put him lower since the few characters above him are just better. Oh boy, here we go. Top 5. When Crying Child wound up this high, I wasn't anywhere close to surprised. Like, wow, a gift boxer who also has Power Song? Talk about an upgrade. No disrespect to RXQ, but Crying Child just has way more to offer. Sliding into 4th place is none other than FNAF's main antagonist himself, Mr. Afton. Of course, we all knew Springtrap was going to be somewhere towards the very top. Only a single one of his abilities carried him this high, by the way. Springlocks is hands down one of the best damage-dealing abilities in the game. And at last, we get to name our gold, silver, and bronze medalists. Standing in 3rd place overall is the haha funny Bite of 87 goober, Nightmare Fredbear. Again, one word: Freddles. Although, unlike Nightmare Freddy, this guy has more damage dealing to offer, which makes him one of the most potent characters in the entire game. Being awarded the silver medal is hands down the heaviest hitter of any character in the entire game. Spring Bonnie has both Springlocks, duh, and the most powerful attack in the game, Cosmic Song. Oh, right, and if your party needs healing, they've got you covered with Happy Jam 2. Are you sure this is all coming from one character? This seems awfully overpowered. Well, just wait till you see number 1. You mean to tell me that there's a character which has the strongest attack in the game, can heal your party, and can act as a backup for in case one of your other gift boxers dies? Sounds pretty OP to me. Funtime Foxy is absolutely the strongest of the FNAF World characters, and if you happen to not have them in your party by choice, well then I'm sorry to say, but you're an idiot. Anyways, that concludes the list. Hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to leave a like on the video, and if you want to see more of my videos in the future, don't forget to subscribe. If you guys made it this far in the video, then thank you. Your support means a lot. And seriously, keep those questions coming for the podcast. They're needed. Thanks, guys. Catch you later.